Hey family, welcome to Love Samantha Lee, the More Than Just Pretty podcast. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on your favorite platform, I'm so glad you're here. We keep it real about love, faith, and life. Are you ready? Let's get into it. What's up, family? Welcome to the show. It's your girl, Samantha Lee, and I'm here with another episode of the More Than Just Pretty podcast. I want to first and foremost thank every single person that has taken part in subscribing to this channel, in investing minutes, time, comments, likes, just everything. I just want to thank each and every one of you guys. It means more than you know, for us to even be at this point. It's been a journey. It has definitely been a journey, and you guys have walked every step of the way with me, and I don't take that lightly. I do not take that lightly, and so I just want to thank each and every one of you guys. But if you have not joined the family, don't just show up. Hit that subscribe button, okay? Hit the like button. I want to see comments from you guys. I like to hear from you guys. It just definitely encourages me. The nice comments definitely encourage me and keep me going, even when sometimes it's really hard to keep going. So I want to thank you guys again for every single one of you guys. So without further ado, this part of the journey that I want to talk about today is called, I'm gonna call this the scariest part of this journey. And that's on purpose. That's intentional, because this is the scariest part of this journey. But I have to start off with a story, because y'all know I'm going to start off with a story. So y'all, last week I went on a trip with my full-time job. We went on a like a staff development retreat, and it was at this lodge, which was really, really nice. Just to be able to bring our families and things like that. And so we go on the rides, and if you guys don't know, your girl is kind of a thrill seeker. Like, I like going on the scariest rides. I like going on the biggest, my daughter calls it loop-de-loop, or the biggest drop. Like, that is me. Like, I am competitive. And so I'm like, okay, are you scared? Because I'm not. But it was fun, and we were able to go on the rides, and we were able to enjoy some of the amenities there. And so during the time that I had to spend with my daughter doing that, we went with other people, and it was so funny because I realized that you go on these rides, and the build up is always crazy. Like, the build up to some of the rides, like I'm going to speak about one specific ride, because this is going to relate into this entire journey. It's going to really do something for me. But anyway, a lot of these rides, like, you go up, and sometimes the wait is more intimidating than the actual ride. Sometimes the ride is actually more intimidating than everything. Like, the ride is that. It's all of that. And then sometimes a ride is not all of that. It looks way worse than what it actually is. Sometimes it is exactly as bad as it looks. And so there was one ride, y'all, where you go inside this like capsule thing, and you're basically like, what they're going to do is shoot you down right into a drop. This drop goes into a bunch of different loops, and you're supposed to be like basically like a cannonball, almost. But you're on this thing, and it has like the heartbeat, and it's like boom, 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 boom when you're in the thing, just to create the, like, obviously the free fall effect. Like, oh my gosh, they can drop you at any minute. And so this one ride, it had the heart beating, and then the floor just comes out from underneath you, and you're shooting down. Okay. And you might be shooting down. One ride that did that, it was like a couple feet, so it wasn't as bad. One of the rides, it was a real drop. Okay. It wasn't like a little baby drop. It was like it was a drop. And I could see why there was absolutely no line for that one at all. The ride's bad when nobody's trying to get on it. So of course I took it upon myself. I'm like, challenge, I'm totally getting on this ride. Like, y'all are afraid? Like, no, I'm going on the ride. Like, y'all, like, I don't care what it is. So we had taken a break from going on rides. I had an hour. I'm like, oh no. Once we hit this park, the first ride I'm going on is the ride that everybody's scared to go on. And so yours truly goes up, and I get all the way up there, and I'm like, is anybody in line for this one? They're like, no. And I'm like, ooh, I'm a little scared. I'm like, okay, well, no. I'm not gonna let fear dictate this part of my journey. I'm all the way here. We done walked up 80 flights of steps to get here. We're going on this ride. So I get on the ride, y'all. They put me in the little blue thing, and they close the door, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, ooh. I'm like, ooh, this is scary. It's actually really scary. Like, I don't know how I feel about this. And I'm like, okay, well, no one that I know of has passed away from this ride. So, so anyway, basically, the floor comes out from underneath me within a couple seconds. They don't tell you when. And I actually they shoot me down, and then I get stuck at some point. I'm able to push my way through and finish the ride. And I'm like, I'm never going on it again. Although if I went on a second time, it probably wouldn't be as scary because I know what to expect. But that free fall thing it gets a lot of us. And I want to liken it to this journey we have in faith, because it is free falling. And I thought it was a really interesting thing that I had heard. I was watching this podcast, and they were talking about how God never intended for us to strive. Like when He created Adam and Eve, He didn't create Adam and Eve to be hustling, to go, do a bunch of different things. He created Adam and Eve to really rest and be in communion with Him. Like, it was not about them getting a great job or going to college, getting a job, and creating honest living for themselves. He created them with all intention, all intensive purposes of them abiding and taking dominion over what He had created on earth. And it was supposed to be a peaceful place, a loving place, a place not of striving or trying to earn anything. It was just it was supposed to be a place of peace. And when sin entered into the world, that's when we got into striving. But it was never God's intention for us to strive, to work so hard, to get these worldly accolades, to obtain and attain material wealth. It was never about that. It was all about spending and being in communion with God. And so, probably one of the hardest parts of this journey for me personally has been fighting my desire to strive. I've been striving my whole life. I've always kind of felt like you talk about charting the course, or what they tell you you're supposed to do, graduate from high school, go to college, go to grad school, get a job, get married, have a child. You go through that whole rigmarole of what you're supposed to do. And I feel like I've kind of done it that way. And God in this season is kind of like taking all of that and shaking it all up, because that foundation is built off of me. It's built off of my choices. It's built off of the security I've created for myself. And God is redefining that for myself. So I'm taking risks I've never taken before. I'm, you know, doing things I've never done before. And even my family is like, what are you doing? Like, this is not the smart move. This is not the well researched thing. This is not the safe move. Like, you're literally swimming in the deep end, and we don't know what's going to happen. And I liken it to the ride that I just went on, that no one else wanted to go on this ride because there's no security on this ride. There's no one else that's going on the ride. I run up to the front of the line and I jump on, and is the ride as bad as it seems, or as does it have a drop? It does. But anytime you've gone on a really hard ride at a amusement park or any type of park, there's such a exhilaration. There's such a why do people go on scary rides? Because when you get off, the way that you feel is kind of like euphoric, like you just accomplished something. This wasn't a ride no one else wanted to go on, so you have this euphoric like accomplishment of like, I did something no one else wanted to do. And this walk of faith, I'll be honest with you, has felt like that, where I'm just free falling and I'm praying that God catches me. And in this, He's questioned, challenged areas where I've found my identity, found my security in. And I think that this episode is going to be really directed to the security aspect of things, because that's been the hardest part of this. It's hard for me to rest in God's promises because God's promises doesn't require you. Like, He's going to do what He needs to do. He's going to make whatever He needs to make happen. And He doesn't need your effort. He doesn't need your striving. And I'm not a lazy woman. I'm not the type of woman that's just going to sit on her hands and do whatever. Like, I've always been the type of woman who wants to wants to work, wants to be productive, wants those things. And so when God is asking me to rest, I don't know how. Be honest with you. That's like been the hardest part of this. I got on a call with my coach last week, and she was talking to me about like resting. And I was like, I honestly don't know how to rest. I had a dream where family, I was in this cruise type of journey, and I was with this friend, and this friend was taking me from ride to ride to ride, and we never stopped. We never went anywhere. The only time we stopped was to eat. And it was later, because the friend had no face. I didn't know who this friend was. I just knew that they were my friend, and we were going, and this friend was like competitive and wanted to just keep going, going, and going. And it was later revealed to me that friend was me. That friend didn't know how to stop. And even in a journey with God, it's learning how to be completely dependent upon Him. And He really doesn't need your accolades or your finances. Like, in fact, He's going to strip sometimes those things, the things that you find your identity in or are trying to find your identity in. He strips you from those things on purpose because He wants to introduce you to purpose. And so in this time, family, there's even a decision I'm making today that is so not like me. I could cry. It's so not like what makes me feel comfortable. Like, it's so scary. And I'm like, okay, God, I trust you. Like, I don't understand. I don't know how. Like, not that I don't know how, because it's not even like a situation where I don't see how, but it's a situation I would never do. I wouldn't do it because it would be, I would want to hold on to what I have, and I wouldn't want to give it up. Like, it's like there's a certain level. I was watching a podcast, and this woman said this, that God is going to confront you with the very things you fear. Like, the very things that you're afraid of in the journey, that's what He's going to allow to happen, because he wants you to confront it and understand that your foundation is Him. That no matter what you're facing, it's Him. That your trust is not in your circumstances. Your trust is not in your health. Your trust is not in your money. Your trust is not in your family. Your trust is not in your marriage. Your trust is in Him, that you are rooted in Him. And so, family, there are decisions that He's making or having me make that, yes, they're desires of my heart, but they take a risk. Everything that I've put on this board that I had for myself is like, it's coming to fruition. But there's a cost, and that cost is faith. That there's a cost, and it's this free falling, this I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how, like, I don't know. I don't know. But I'm like, God, I'm this deep in the water, and I'm not willing to give up. Like, I was at one point, family, and I was talking to my coach, and I was like, I just feel like giving up. Like, I just feel like I'm scared. Like, I'm so deep in this water with God. And the funny thing is, family, I had more trust. I had more trust in the ride at times than I did God. Because that is what this is. Like, people that are so comfortable in faith, I've talked to a lot of people in this faith journey, and a lot of them, family, are not really walking in faith. Because walking in faith is uncomfortable. Walking in faith is not easy. Walking in faith is not secure. It's not passive. It is an active participation. It is moving in a way that absolutely contradicts worldly wisdom. It is literally, it doesn't make sense to anyone. If everybody in your family, if they're not walking in faith and what you're doing makes sense, you're probably not walking heavy enough in this kingdom. Like, you are not to be of this world. You are set apart. And so being set apart means you don't live like the world. And when your life looks like a lot like the world, and you make the decisions the way the world makes decisions, that means you're not moving according to faith, because faith is the evidence of things unseen, confidence of things hoped for, evidence of things unseen. And so, family, yeah, that's where I'm at. And I'll tell you what, I don't care what kind of ride you're facing or any type of amusement park you've been on, the ride of faith is the scariest part. That ride that I went on didn't require any striving from me. I just needed to get on the ride. I was going to end up where I was going to end up. It was a predetermined location, but I had to get on the ride. And family, God has a promise for each and every one of us. It's not just some people, it's all of us. But not all of us are willing to get on the ride because the ride looks scary. And I'll be honest, like going on the water ride that I told you about, family, I went on that water ride. I didn't know where it was taking me. I didn't know how it was going to move me there. I didn't know how it was going to feel when it happened. I just kind of knew where I was going to end up because I could see the end from the beginning. I just didn't know the journey or how the journey felt. It's the same with faith. That family, we don't know where we end up. Or no, we will. Sometimes God reveals that to us, the end from the beginning. But the journey, the method is unknown to us. That's on purpose because I'll be honest with you. Some of the things that I thought would happen by now haven't. Some of the things that I wanted to happen have happened. Like the things that God showed me was going to happen have happened. Did it take longer? Yeah. But it happened. It did happen. Like what God showed me happened. Other things that God has shown me, I'm still waiting on. But there's a lot. It has happened. Like I have seen God tell me things in one season, and I see it come true in the next season. Like I've seen God show me what is going. Like I've seen it. Now how it's played out, that I didn't know. That part, your girl had no idea. The journey is unknown to us. The destination is unknown to us. But we know that Psalms 23, which keeps coming up in my own personal time with God, it says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Before that, it says he leads you beside peaceful streams, green pastures and peaceful streams. He guides you along all the right paths, bringing honor to his name. That family, a lot of us, we think we're the best driver of our lives, and I'm here to tell you you're not. And even when I've made decisions, family, even today, I was, there's a decision that I feel like God is leading me to make. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't even make sense to me. Like I would never make this decision, but I feel a prompting. It is something that I desire, but I would not do it. Like in any other world, I would not do this. Would not. But God is calling me out of my comfort zone and calling me to do something that, yes, I desire, but I would never do. Because if anybody knows me, they know that what I'm doing is not me. But I feel the prompting. I sense God is in it, and I'm going to take the risk. And you saw me emotional earlier. Like, I don't know. Like, some of the things, family, is like, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm looking at the situation. I'm like, well, God, can I like wait until this moment or that moment? And I knew, family, like, without saying too much about this because it's still, in its infancy, or it's not all the way realized, but it was just weird because I had got a message. I was like, okay, well, and I felt a prompting to go, investigate, look more into it. I looked more into it. I'm like, okay, God, I've done that. But I knew in my spirit that as soon as God kind of starts the process, he's going to finish the process. Like, that's not for no reason. It may not be in that moment. Like, there might be something that God is calling you to look at. God is calling you to do. God is calling you to investigate. And again, family, I want to caution you. If you're not spending time with God, if you're not spending that quality time with him one-on-one, it is hard for you to tell me what God is telling you to do. Like, people will tell me, God is telling me this, God is telling me that. And sometimes I can tell by, you know what? That sounds like God. Because understanding the nature of God, I can see how that might be God, right? So it's like, okay, yeah, that sounds like God. And then there's other things I'm like, I don't know if that's God. I think you might need to research that. I think you might need to put yourself before wise counsel, because family, we can deceive ourselves. Jeremiah 17:9, the heart is deceitful above all things. It is sick and desperately wicked. Who can understand it? That our hearts lead us all the time in bad directions, wrong roads. And we have to take accountability for that. We have to take accountability for the fact that, like, and humility to saying, like, I'm not always right. I've been wrong. And I take that very seriously, because I have been wrong. I have been wrong. And so there's times where there's promptings in my spirit that I know it's God, because it's not something I would do. And I don't really even know why the enemy would want me to do it. Like, I feel like it's more like, yeah, this is not a, I don't necessarily feel like the enemy would be advocating for me to do this, because it doesn't, I could see why he would be doing that. The other, because that means I'm putting my trust in this versus I'm putting my trust in God. Like, I could see, like, where I can see it all. I can see where, like, where God is testing me. Do you trust me? Do you trust me? That's something that I've shared with you on this journey. Like, do you trust me? Do you trust me? And it's been hard. Because you're no longer in control. You're superseding control and you're surrendering control to God. And I've had people in my journey that tell me, I don't know if I would want to do what you're doing. Like, the way you're walking, I don't know if I want to do that. And I'll tell you, family, it's hard, because I'm going to be transparent. I would want somebody to walk this with me. I would not want to be, like, and I know God is bringing whoever God is preparing for me. But if I'm being transparent, like, as I've gotten closer to God, the desire for companionship, the desire for someone to be there for me, while you're making these decisions, somebody that understands that I'm walking this way and I'm walking heavy and it's scary for me, and can be my physical manifestation of what God, how God loves me. He's not going to be perfect, but he's going to be sent from God. Like, I desire that, because it's hard. You're making these decisions and you got to be strong. And I feel like with God, I'm able to be weak. I'm able to, like, have that. He is my pillow. He like, because when you speak to people about what God is calling you to do, family, they're not going to always understand. They're not going to always, like, in fact, most times, especially with your family and your friends, like, they're going to be the main people that are gonna be like, no, I don't think that don't make sense. Like, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. Like, God is never going to call you to settle. He's never going to call you to settle. Like, I have this situation I'm facing right now. Like, I spoke to family, and of course, family's they're not wrong. I understand what they're saying, but I know that God, what they're calling me to do is the safe route. And God is calling me out of safe. God is calling me out of comfortable. God is calling me to take a risk. And I know that when you're presenting safe to me, that's not God. That's me controlling the outcome. That's me trusting in me. That is me allowing me to see where I can go. I am telling you that right now, though it's the scariest part of this journey, it is saying, okay, God, I trust you. Like, because family, the things that we desire require risk. That's what makes it so hard. It's like, you want this. Yes. Like, ultimately, yeah, you want that. But there's a risk to every reward. There's a risk. And what the enemy does is he makes you scared to take risks. And I am not a risk-taking type of woman. Yes, I'll go on a risky ride. I'll go on all the roller coasters you want. But when it comes to taking real life risks, it's hard for me. That has been the hardest part of this journey, because I'm so out of control. This is so not what I want to do. I do not see the other side. I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know what the end is going to be. I don't know. And that is why I can tell a lot of people they're not walking in faith. They're walking in their own worldly wisdom. Like, when you're walking in faith and you walking heavy, it doesn't matter what anybody says to you, family. It doesn't matter what your friends or your family or your mother or your daddy or your cousins, it does not matter. What God is going to continue to press upon you to walk in crazy faith. And to walk in crazy faith means that, yes, you have a couple people that are around you that are walking in crazy faith as well. And can understand where God is calling you to. Because a lot of people that are not walking it that way are not going to understand the journey that God has you on. Again, I always say, you got to surrender yourself to wise counsel. You should not be, this is just you and you. You should, there's somebody in your life that you know is in faith, that is walking in faith, that can speak to what God is calling you to. But if you're trying to walk in faith and nobody else in your family is walking in the same type of faith, nobody in your family is making those type of decisions, nobody in your family has ever charted the course that God is calling you to chart, you can't discuss with them what exactly God is putting on you to do, because they don't understand. They're not going to understand. And I think that that's been the hardest part, family, is that I've had to supersede or kind of push to the side, looking for the validation from my family, from my parents, from my mom, from my siblings. Like they don't need to understand. They're not God. It's only if Soraya, please, mama. I'm sorry, y'all. It's only the only opinion or perspective that truly matters in this walk with God is his. And sometimes you do need to surrender to wise counsel to really hear God and make sure it's not you. But always coming to God with a neutral, go in your room, please. Because so, y'all, I'm sorry. My daughter just interrupted my train of thought. So I'm going to try to resume where I was at. But long story short, what I wanted to say, and I hope that I communicated saying, is that you cannot go to people in your life that are not being called or being directed by God the way that you feel that God is calling you, because they're not going to understand. You have to, yes, surrender yourself with people that are trying to walk the same walk that you're trying to walk. Surround yourself with people that are trying to do it God's way, because otherwise what you're saying doesn't make sense. And that doesn't mean that your family and your friends they're not Christian, they don't love God. But walking in faith and talking faith are two different things. Walking in faith makes you look crazy to the world. It's going to make you do something or say something or act upon, like, it's not a passive process, it's an active process. It requires a level. God is going to confront you with the very thing that you're afraid of. You desire it, you do, but you're afraid of it. It's like, God, that's going to make me look crazy. Like, God, that's going, I don't even know. Like, that's what God does. He puts you in situations just like that, where you're like, God, I don't know. Like, that's it to where, like, I have family, there's people that ask me questions. So what is going to happen? Oh, I don't know. So what are you going to, are you going to, I don't know. So are you going to do, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the course. I don't know. I don't, like, this walk is me, like, really trusting God, and people are not going to understand why you don't sign the lease, why you didn't renew with the job, why you're not dating and doing it the world's way, why you're waiting and preserving your body for your husband, why you're deciding to not do this or not do that. Why? They're not going to understand, family. I'm sorry, they're not. And a lot of us, we allow ourselves to be limited by what people think and how they see it. And they're broken people. I don't care how healed they are broken. Your mama, as amazing as that woman is, she can't speak to the journey God has you on. You're meant to break generational curses. You're meant to do things that supersede logic. God wants to do a mighty work in you. And if you keep playing by world's rules, you will keep doing it world's ways, and you will not reach the places that God has for you. You are limiting yourself by limiting yourself to what everybody else in your world thinks makes sense. You have got to, and I'm saying this with all, I'm talking heavy today. You have got to speak to God, number one, and people that are listening to God too. You got prophetic people in your life. You got prophetic people that you're around. You've got people that are hearing the Holy Spirit, that are walking, that are also walking in crazy faith. Those are the people those are your people. Those are your spiritual people that you now have to say, okay, this is what God's calling me to. I know it doesn't make sense. It don't even make sense to me. I'm literally crying because as much as I want what God is bringing me towards, it's scary. It requires a level of faith that is uncomfortable for me. There's multiple areas, if I'm being honest, God's calling me to do. Like where I'm not doing it world's way. I'm not dating world's way. I'm not doing my job world's way. I'm not like certain things that I'm doing. It doesn't make sense. And I've been attacked for it privately and publicly. It's hard walking this walk. It's scary. It's like walking on a ride no one else is going on. Very few are brave enough to take this ride. That's why they say the road is narrow. Because there's many people that say that they walk in faith, they don't. Because it's going to require you to walk in a way that doesn't make sense to the world. I know God is bringing up or raising up a new generation of people, a new generation of young people, middle-aged people, older people, walking in crazy faith. And I pray that God has his way in my life. I really do. I really hope that, and I pray that I continue to keep showing people that are around me and maybe even out loud one day how real our God is. Your desires change, family. Your desires change. And that doesn't always make sense to people. There are people that have gotten mad at me, attacked me, betrayed me because I'm doing things differently. I'm really trying to hear God. And I don't want to sit here and paint it like it's easy because it's not. Is it rewarding? Yes. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. And so I say all this to say, like, you don't really get to see me be soft because I don't think I allow myself to be soft. Not like that. Not in front of the world. But that's the scariest part of this journey. That you're walking, and I've got to trust God the way I trust the rides. Like I'm bold enough to stand up and get on the ride, but the journey is unknown to me. I'm doing things I've never done. I'm being called to things, taking risks that don't make sense to me at the moment. But I'm so deep in the water with God, I'm not willing to walk back to shore. I'm just not. Because I know that he's doing something. He's doing something in the world today, family. It's clear. You don't want to be on the shore. You want to be in the water. Don't allow what everybody else is doing to dictate what God is going to do in your life. He may be calling you to do something that just doesn't make sense to you. And to be honest with you, that's how you know it's God. That's how you know it's God. Because he doesn't have to make sense to you. That's not part of his job requirements. And he's never meant for you to strive and to hustle and to try to get it. I think you learn over time, those things don't really matter at the end of the day, do they? The accolades, the material possessions, it don't matter. Purpose is what matters. Relationships, family, that's what matters. Love matters. Love and purpose matter more than any material possession you could have. And so I'm here to tell you guys, yes, I'm in the deep end. And I'm trusting God. I'm just out here trusting God. Like, seriously trusting God. And I'm not here to just paint a pretty picture. Like, oh, it's incredible out here. It's hard. It's like getting on the scariest ride you can think of. And you know where you're going to end. You see everybody getting off the ride. But the journey is unknown. And honestly, the scarier the ride, the greater the story. The greater the story where God can absolutely get the glory from your life. That's the point. And so, family, I know that this podcast was like disjointed. My daughter came in, but mommy duties. But I hope that you guys receive this message. Scariest part of the journey is that God is going to confront you with what you're afraid of. What you're afraid of. And I'm not saying like scary, I'm saying areas in your life where you might have found your identity, where you've put your security, areas that are your comfort. He's going to make your comfort zone uncomfortable. He's going to move you. That is part of the price tag we pay for purpose. And in that, he's going to do a crazy work. It's not just about you. Because everybody in my life, family, is watching me do this. And they don't understand. And I trust. As much as I fight back and forth, and God knows, I'm going to be obedient. They're going to see it. They're going to see through my life, through the steps of faith that I'm taking, that I would never do. How real, how incredible, how vast, how worthy, how omnipotent, how all-powerful, how detailed, how intentional my God is through my life. You also get to see. If you've been watching my channel, you're also going to be able to see God get the glory from what he's about to do in my story. I love you guys. And I will see you guys soon. And that's a wrap. If this episode spoke to you, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube or leave a review wherever you're listening. Let's keep the convo going. Connect with me on all socials. Remember, real beauty starts with you being true to yourself. I love you, family, and I'll see you soon.